Res Dogs is like such a specific voice and a specific like genre. I feel like it sort of hits that like Better Call Saul, like like the dramedy of it all.
Totally.
And I love it for that, and also like I think that that's sort of where Native people exist in naturally in our culture.
Yes, like there is an undercurrent of loss and grief and sadness.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
I just loved it. And then rewatched, I think the episode's called Wide Net, when the aunties go to the IHS conference. I mean, just brilliant.
I want to, for Wide Net specifically, which was such a fun experience to shoot, shout out to Tasba Chavez, who is the writer and the director of that episode.
Oh,
and
great.
is Bishop Paiute Navajo and Plains Apache writer and producer and director. She really like set the tone for shooting that episode, where all of us ladies, including Natalie Standing Cloud, who's an incredible tattoo artist who lives in Tulsa, and the Podemsky sisters, Tamara Podemsky and Sarah Podemsky, who are in their own right, like extraordinarily talented Indigenous women. Tamara Podemsky was on Broadway. She was in one of the first Mimi's in Rent.
Oh, wow.
I know. She's a very like talent, and Sarah
That's awesome.
Podemsky is like a talented singer and dancer,
Yeah.
and comes, like these are like Native women who have so much skill in this industry but are completely underserved on screen. And so like the four of us getting together and rehearsing the dance, like it was exactly like the experience that you would want to like it's what you want. What you're doing this for, you know?
Exactly.
Like,
which in this godforsaken industry, like having those moments along the way are so important, and that you really you cherish them at the time, you know?
Totally.
And also Indigenous joy, which I feel like is certainly one of the aspects of you that I find so like compelling, and also that's like, we need this, you know?
Yeah, we really need it. I think that that's like why I sort of tout it all the time. And I do. I really believe in it, and I believe in its power. I have been doing comedy since I was, since 2000 or 1998. And, the Podemsky sisters are on Broadway. It's like all of the work that we've been doing in our own individual lives to be able to culminate in a project like Reservation Dogs or like Rutherford Falls is like, okay. It's
Totally.
like this feeling of like, we're getting somewhere.
Yes,
finally,
exactly. Like actual progress.
Yeah.
Totally.
And like my first job on screen and getting paid to like do the work that I've been doing for free or paying to do it for years and years happened when I was 39.
It's
you
amazing.
know?
It's amazing. And that was Rutherford. That was really okay. I wanted to ask how that came about. Did you know Sierra? Was it a cold audition? Tell us the story.
Basically, I had been living in LA. I moved to LA from New York City, where I was a teacher for 10 years. And I moved to LA to try to be a writer. And I sort of knew, like, I'm in a bigger body. I'm a Native person. I just, like, I don't think I'm going to be, like, noticed by LA. Like, I don't think that getting in, like, just jumping in and starting to audition, I just don't think that that's going to be the way for me. It never has been. And so I'm going to try to get in with my brain. So I taught myself how to write pilots and sort of like simulated a writer's room for myself with my friends, and like had them come over and like pitch on and stuff. And then I started a podcast called Woman of Size, and I had been interviewing different people, and I kept hearing the name Sierra. Like, the only Native TV writer in town is this woman, Sierra, and she's working on Superstore, and like, good luck getting a hold of her, basically, was like kind of the message. And I was like, okay, well, I'll do my best. And so anyway, I finally got in touch with her through another comedian. And I asked her to come on my pod. And I had meanwhile been trying to apply to all of these diversity fellowships, like the NBC, the Warner, like all of the like different fellowships, the submitting my scripts to like script competitions, nothing was happening. I literally had a spreadsheet of like all of the different submissions that I had made and like rejection. I posted to Instagram, I remember like in 2018 or 19, all of my rejection like emails that I had gotten. And it was amazing. Like 12 or like 15. It was so funny. And I was
Were you posting this after you had some real success?
No.
I love it. No. But it was, I mean, I'm stealing this line from Reservation Dogs, but I just rewatched the episode. It's when like you're releasing the pain almost.
Yes. I was releasing it because it was fucking hilarious to me. I was just like, what a loser. Like who is so bad at this that they can't even get like a diversity scholarship? But also I was trying to put the pieces together because I was like, there's no way that my writing is bad. Like there's no way. I know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing in terms of the industry, but like I know what I'm doing in terms of like my own creativity. The same week that I had Sierra on the podcast, I also had my friend Lauren Ashley had connected me with her manager at 3 Arts, and so
Lauren Ashley Smith.
Yes.
So
I signed with
she's great with Katie Newman, the great Katie Newman,
my girl, and then I had Sierra on the podcast, and we were talking about Rutherford Falls being in development and how they're trying to like put a room together and what that process was like. And she was like, "Do you have any writing samples?" At the end when we stopped, and I was like, do I?
Girl, one sec.
But I sent my samples to them, and I sort of, for a couple months, it was seeming like it wasn't going to happen for me, or like I wasn't going to get the job. I was just like, if I don't get this job, like I'm going to move back to Oregon.
Yeah, like this really might be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like this
if I can,
yes.
Not only are you so talented, you're bullseye for what this show, a voice that needs to be a part of this show. And supporting Sarah's vision and all of that.
Yeah. And I was already sort of internalizing the messaging that I was getting from all of the like festival rejections and stuff, that I was like, I must not be that good, or the industry has no interest in a lead character who is a Native woman who is grappling with the realities of her own history and what the contemporary needs of our people, and also her personal needs, and like what it's like to be a Native person not in leather and feathers, like what is it like to just be a Native woman who lives amongst y'all and like whatever, which I think is a very funny disposition. Then, eventually I got hired. Rutherford Falls happened. I was in the writer's room. I was a staff writer. It was my first staffing job. We knew Ed was cast as Nathan. And he was in the room with us all the time. And it was also wonderful to work under Mike Schur, who is like it was just so cool to watch how he crafts episodes of TV. And like helps us to like, it was just so fun. And also to be in a writer's room with other Native people, like literally in my entire my life's work, all of the different career paths that I've had, never have worked with another Native person, like professionally. Not even one other Native person.
Totally. Because you got that spot.
Yeah, exactly. So just to be like that affirming feeling to be in that room alone, that was in January of 2020. And then middle of March, pandemic happened. That week, I had my second audition for Regan, which sort of came out of the blue from Sierra. We were auditioning all of the Regans, and I remember the writer's assistant, Caitlin, came up to me. I was talking to her. I was like, I just don't even know, like, who are we going to cast for Regan? Because she needs to be able to go one-on-one with Ed. Like, and Ed is a really good improviser. He's like famous from The Office. Like, that we have to like find somebody who can really step up to that. And I remember Caitlin saying like, well, I want it to be you. And I was like, it just went in one ear and came out the other, because I was like, there's no way. There's no way. I've packed this dream of being a performer away. I'm a writer now. I'm not going to be on screen. It's just that's not the vision. Then a couple days later, I got this email from Sierra that was like sides for one of the bullies to audition for like a smaller part, and then sides for Regan. And I was like, this is a mistake. Like, I think you accidentally sent me Regan sides. And she was like, no, I want you to read for Regan. And I was like, okay. And then it clicked in, okay,
like you
I'm
could
gonna
let
try.
it in.
Yes, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna really fucking try.
Right.
And I had 2 screen tests with Ed. The first one was very fun, and I just treated it like a live show,
Totally,
like a sketch show.
And did you have some, because you had been in the writer's room with him, you had a good rapport, you were comfortable, you've had a really big hand in crafting and finding her voice and all of that. So that was such a natural segue, but also gulp, like you're in the fucking deep end here, right?
Yeah, to me, I was like, oh, I hadn't really been thinking about Regan as me at all.
Right.
And then when I was going to audition for her, I was like, I can make her mine. I just have to lean into how I actually feel about this very opportunity, which is I'm going to be bold, I'm going to be brave, but I'm very sweaty and very nervous about it. But I am going to push through and I'm just going to take charge, And so I think that is how sort of it helped to bring Regan about in the same situation.
That's great.
And and then the second screen test I did with Ed, they were like, we want to make sure you can do drama.
Sure, you're like, sit down.
I was like, oh,
don't worry.
No shade to dramatic actors, but it is not as hard as comedy, in my humble opinion. So it was, and and everybody was on my team. Everyone in the writer's room was like, we're gonna let's get you in there, and it felt like a team effort.
Totally. And what an ideal experience in some ways, because the auditioning process, like, what a fucking waking nightmare.
Oh,
and also then, I mean, I'm sure you have both things going through your head, like, okay, I'm now like letting the possibility that this might happen in. I'm going to sort of acknowledge this could be a thing, but I don't want to get my hopes up too much. And man, it's going to really be painful if I am like sitting in this writer's room and now it's not me and all of it. But then you want to bring your full self to it. It's just like, it's such a mind fuck. But knowing everyone was sort of in your corner, how amazing.
Yeah, and we as the writers were also the ones sort of helping with the casting, because with the native acting scene, it's kind of tricky because there's a lot of native presenting actors out there who are not necessarily like in community with other native people.
Yeah.
So we're asking an actor, if an actor is auditioning for like a white role, it's not questioned at all. But if an actor is being asked to be in a non-white role, it's asking them so much, not only to be funny to a non-native audience, but also like as a native actor, we're like, we want to cast somebody who is in the community, somebody who we know is reliable, somebody who's not going to bring bad PR to this project by actually being, Filipino and not like, you know what I mean? It's like, there's all these weird things that we have to consider. And I think that like having built a rapport with the writers and, building friendships with them, it was like, I think that there was some relief,
Yeah.
And then also on my part, feeling like, I get to meet, I can't remember her name right now off the top of my head, the casting director,
Allison Jones,
the
like, greatest.
getting, they're like, you're going to go have a meeting, your first audition is going to be with Allison Jones. And I was like, okay, cool. And all of my actor friends are like, you're meeting Allison Jones? And I was like, yeah. I did. Again, I had completely packed away those dreams. I wasn't auditioning for things, I was like trying to get my writing scene.
Yeah.
And so when I met with Allison Jones, she was like, how come I don't know who you are?
Sounds like her. I love her so much.
Yeah. And I said, probably because I'm native. Honestly. Like you don't know that like native people are out here like living and thriving and working and trying to do the same shit that everybody else is doing. We are literally that erased.
Well, exactly, which is what it is in all of society as well. So it's like in Hollywood, a microcosm of that or emblematic of that, whatever the wording is, in such a fucked up way. And that's also, but the positive lens of That show was just fucking funny.
Yeah.
You were so great in that part.
It was so fun to make.
Yes,
It was
exactly.
truly a joy from top to bottom. We never had a bad, like, I feel like we made it part of our job to like have a good time. And like
Yes.
to have a joyful experience in production.
Totally. It makes all the difference,
It
doesn't
does.
it? It really does.
And I, as a performer on that show, I took that responsibility on so much to make sure that everybody, all the crew, and I think that that's also comes from my teacher training, which is like
inclusive and like I see you.
The janitor is just as valuable as your colleagues.
Totally.
The school secretary plays a very meaningful role in the dynamics of the school. Like you want to make sure that your colleagues and the culture of the staff is like healthy and thriving, and everybody is acknowledged and recognized for their bringing their talent to it. And so I was like, I feel like I wanted to feel like the Rutherford mascot. Like I was like, I am like
that's a great way to put
us.
it.
Like we are like, we're out here, our little show, and we get to shoot on like the Universal lot. This is so major, you know? And it was like the first time that Native people were brought onto a set that big with a crew that big and like doing shots where we had to have the big rig with the light, you know, to make it moonlit, you know, and like doing night shoots and stuff. It was just like, ooh, like we were all just so jazzed.
Yeah.
Because we had never had it.